Once again, the media talking heads at ESPN disrespect the Big 12 Conference by trashing TCU and their schedule. And Paul Finebaum and Stephen A. Smith have the audacity to say that they don't deserve to get in the college football playoff. Let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome into another edition of Coos' Corner. Pull that chair up and let me serve you up another shot of top-shelf college football content. On tap in today's episode, we're talking the Big 12, we're talking TCU, and how they have been absolutely disrespected once again by folks at ESPN. This time, Stephen A. Smith and the SEC homer himself, Mr. Paul Finebaum. I'm going to show you a clip, and then I'm going to talk about what these guys said and why it's so ludicrous. Take a listen.
Are you insinuating that a TCU goes undefeated? They don't deserve to be in the NCAA Final Four?
I'm saying, it's hard because I love the kids, and I don't want to be unfair to the kids, okay? But I got to tell you, that damn schedule I find very non-impressive. I do. Oklahoma State, these teams, they haven't looked the same to me, Paul. Has the Big 12 been the Big 12 that you come to know and love?
No. Well, first of all, dog, you're so far off. It's embarrassing, okay?
What?
Because the Big 12 really doesn't have, I mean, this is not the old Big 12, dog. I mean, this is the TCU Big 12, and TCU analytics looked this up the other day. If you put TCU against the top 10, top 12 in the country on a neutral site, they're not underdog against every team. Now that doesn't mean very much on the field, but that's where we have the playoffs. It's on neutral sites, and I think TCU would get blown off the field against Georgia, against Tennessee, against Alabama, LSU, Michigan, Ohio State. They don't belong in there. They have not played a schedule worthy of getting in the playoffs.
So they want to sit there and they want to talk about TCU and their strength of schedule. Well, let's talk about that strength of schedule, Mr. Stephen A. Smith and Mr. Paul Finebaum. According to none other than the ESPN website, Stephen A. and Paul, they have the 40th best strength of schedule in the country. Guess what Ohio State's strength of schedule is? 61. I never heard one of you say that they don't deserve to be in the college football playoff. Guess where Michigan's strength of schedule is so far this year? 85th in the country out of 130 teams. I didn't hear one of you say that they didn't deserve to be in the college football playoff. Before they started talking about TCU, which wasn't included in the clip, Paul Finebaum was raving about USC. Well, guess what USC's strength of schedule is? 66th. 66th. TCU's is 40th. Their strength of record, which is reflective of how the average top 25 team would do against the same schedule, TCU is first in the country. First in the entire freaking country, Paul and Stephen A. Ohio State is fourth. Michigan is 5th. USC is 10th. First in the country. Number one in strength of record. Better than Alabama. Better than Tennessee. Better than anybody else. Okay? I'm not saying they're better than Tennessee or Alabama. My point is they're ranked in strength of record higher than those teams. Yet Stephen A. and Paul want to say they don't deserve it. Oh, and by the way, guess who has more top 25 wins? Who do you think has more top 25 wins on this year? TCU, Ohio State, or Michigan? It's TCU. They have 2 wins over teams that are currently ranked in the CFP top 25. Ohio State and Michigan each only have 1 apiece. One thing that Mad Dog Russo brought up, TCU beat Texas more handily than Alabama did. And both games were in Austin. It took a last-second field goal for Alabama to beat Texas. TCU beat them by a touchdown. So you want to sit here and talk about TCU and how they don't have a strength of schedule, and Paul Finebaum wants to talk about how, well, this is not the Big 12 of old. Yeah, you know why? Because Texas has sucked for the last decade. And TCU doesn't suck. Kansas State doesn't suck. They're a good team. And you want to sit here and talk about their strength of schedule? All the numbers tell you that that's not accurate, Paul, that that's not accurate, Stephen A. Smith. All you have to do is pull up the information on your own freaking website, and it will tell you that the strength of schedule for TCU is better. That the strength of record for TCU is better. Look at your own numbers. Do your homework before you make some statement, outlandish statement about it. I just get so fed up with these guys. And I know, look, Stephen A. Smith gets paid to say outlandish things. That's what he gets paid for. That's what he's there for. Unless you're in the SEC, Paul Finebaum thinks you completely suck. And Paul Finebaum talked about how you think TCU could hang with Alabama or Georgia or Tennessee on a neutral field. That's not the point, Paul. Nobody in the country can hang with those teams on a neutral field. Nobody's saying that. But they do deserve to be in the playoff. Notre Dame's not been able to hang in the playoff with these teams. Last year, Michigan got their doors blown off by Georgia in the CFP. Nobody can hang with Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee on a neutral field. Maybe they can Alabama this year, but in a normal year, they can't. That's not, those teams are head and shoulders above everybody else in the country, Paul and Stephen A. Everybody knows that. But you have to have 4 teams in it and not 2. And TCU deserves to be one of those top 4 teams. And anybody that thinks that that's not the case has not been paying attention and hasn't looked at the numbers. TCU's a hell of a football team. The Big 12's a good conference this year. I don't care that Oklahoma's not doing well. That's not the point. TCU, if they win out, deserves to be in it. And I could argue that even if they drop a game, they may still deserve to get in, depending on what the teams around them do. Because their strength of schedule stacks up against 3 of the other teams in the top 6 right now, and that's Ohio State, Michigan, and USC. The talking heads just, I'll be honest, I don't think they know what the hell they're talking about. All right, guys, if you want to support this channel financially, I ask that you please check out my merch store. Right now, if you make a purchase between now and Sunday, November the 20th, you get 20% off in my merch store. You can get you a hoodie with my channel logo on it. You can get you a T-shirt, a ball cap, all kinds of different items over there. I have other designs too. A couple of them are up on the screen now. Also, you can hit the join button right below, become a member of Cougars Corner, take advantage of all those perks. If you want to support me absolutely free, there's 4 ways you can do it. You can like the video, share the video, comment under the video, and last but not least, please hit the red subscribe button. Subscribe to Cougars Corner. Help me get to that 5,000 subscriber mark, hopefully by the end of the year. And all of those 4 things are absolutely free and only take a second, and will help my channel out tremendously. With that, I really appreciate you tuning in to this episode, and until the next time, Q Country Roads.